There's a location in the Western Sahara Desert of Mauritania called the Richat structure. It's also commonly referred to as the Eye of the Sahara. It is a site that most people have never seen or heard of before.
In a recent announcement that has stunned the world, renowned podcast host Joe Rogan has just revealed a sudden discovery under the Eye of the Sahara Desert. The history that has long been believed to lie beneath this site might have finally made its way into the light. Being one that has long been a topic of fascination, stirring debates among archaeologists and scientists, everyone is desperate to learn what Joe Rogan found out. Could it be remnants of past life in the Sahara? A crash site? Let's get to hear what Joe has to say. The Sahara Desert has long been one of the most fascinating landmarks on the planet. Being Earth's largest and hottest desert, this vast expanse of sand covers around 9.2 million square kilometers across North Africa. This makes it a few 100,000 square kilometers, almost the size of the United States. Due to the large size of this terrain, it is believed that the Sahara Desert isn't merely a sandy terrain, but a landmass holding several secrets of an ancient civilization that dates back ages ago. And the latest discovery under the Eye of the Sahara Desert by Joe Rogan might have come to finally confirm that theory. The Eye of the Sahara, or the Richat structure, as popularly called by scientists, is an enthralling geological wonder that has long remained unhidden by the sands of time. Located at the heart of the Sahara Desert in Mauritania, the discovery of this landmark in the middle of a sandy terrain in 1969 has left the world with several unanswered questions. One of them is the question of how the bullseye-like pattern got etched into the desert's terrain in the first place. The truth is that there are several theories concerning the origin of the Eye of the Sahara Desert. One such theory is that the eye is a product of meteorite impact. Apparently, this claim was highly invoked and accepted by scientists at the time, but when technology and satellite imagery improved, it became evident that the Eye of the Sahara Desert was way more than that. Spanning nearly 30 miles in diameter and characterized by rings of rock layers, geologists now believe that the eye was formed millions of years ago through a combination of erosion and uplifting. When looking at the center of the structure, it becomes apparent that the rocks there date back millions of years. This research might actually support recent claims. However, Joe Rogan believes that the geologists' discoveries aren't entirely complete, and there are still missing details related to the origin of the eye. Due to his doubts and his quest to solve what would likely be the greatest expedition of his life, he set out on a journey to the Eye of the Sahara Desert himself. Before we delve into the findings of Joe Rogan, it's necessary to know who the guy actually is. So, who exactly is Joe Rogan? Well, Joe Rogan isn't exactly what we call your regular guy. He's a multifaceted figure in the world of entertainment. This man isn't just into podcasting, but he's into stand-up comedy and mixed martial arts. Not an amateur in all he does, he has excelled in all domains, leaving behind a series of accomplishments, proving his worth. Joe Rogan started as a stand-up comedian. It was his comedic career which catapulted him into the spotlight of fame and widespread recognition. Thanks to his observational humor, of course, he was able to state honest, thought-provoking insights about things happening around him without flinching. And that's what garnered him a devoted fan base. Already having a huge fan base, you can say that's what made Joe Rogan's podcasting journey quite easy. His foray into podcasting in 2009 simply made him twice as influential. As a matter of fact, it took barely a year before Joe's podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience, established itself as one of the most influential and popular podcasts globally. Encompassing a wide range of subjects such as philosophy, science, comedy, and pop culture, his podcast captured the attention of a diverse and extensive audience. This outcome was hardly surprising, given that he regularly invited numerous experts, thinkers, and celebrities to delve into each topic. His podcast journey took to a whole other level in 2020 after he signed an exclusive licensing deal with Spotify. This decision didn't only cement the status of his podcast, but it also showcased his rate of growth in the new media and entertainment industry. With millions of listeners tuning into each episode, Rogan easily commands the attention of multitudes, igniting conversations and inspiring deeper exploration of each and every subject discussed. What about his involvement in mixed martial arts? Well, his role there is as significant as that of the other spheres of his life. As a commentator for the Ultimate Fighting Championship UFC, he is known to bring a unique enthusiasm to the sport for both hardcore fans of MMA and casual viewers. In fact, due to his knowledge and professional commentary in the sport, he has been awarded the MMA Personality of the Year award over 6 times, setting him apart from his peers in the field. What's more, you should also know that he holds a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and so, seeing that Joe Rogan is such a fun and cool guy, one might begin to wonder what truly led him to look the way of the eye in the Sahara Desert. Well, for one, you can say his genuine curiosity played a role in the affair. Seeing that the eye of the Sahara Desert has long been on the radar of experts' lists, it's hard for a man such as Joe Rogan not to notice what's in front of him. After all, if we are being honest, it doesn't really take a science geek to solve what could be one of the world's greatest mysteries of all time. It simply takes critical thinking, willingness, and an open-minded nature. These are all the qualities that Joe Rogan possesses already. And so, this takes us further into this video asking, what did the man behind one of the greatest podcast shows discover? You'll really be stunned as it truly gets interesting from here. What did Joe Rogan discover about the eye of the Sahara Desert that might have eluded scientists? Joe Rogan's expedition into the heart of the eye of the Sahara Desert is one that is said to have unveiled a tapestry of geological wonders. If we are being honest, his discovery might actually be giving archaeologists and researchers a run for their money, seeing that they never truly uncovered as much as he did about the eye. So what did Joe Rogan discover about the eye of the Sahara Desert that promises to rewrite the history books? Well, after traversing the undulated sand dunes to the eye, this man actually uncovered evidence of an ancient civilization that is believed to have existed on the eye of the Sahara Desert a millennia ago. Also etched into the rocks gave a glimpse of a sophisticated society with outstanding knowledge that precedes their time by far. According to Joe Rogan, he believes that people from this land understood cosmology and astronomy and were able to coordinate themselves in a fashion like us in the modern world. As crazy as a city in the middle of the Sahara Desert sounded, Joe Rogan even had a theory for the civilization that he believed existed on the eye of the Sahara Desert. According to the man, he claims that the lost city of Atlantis, which researchers, scientists, and explorers believe to have been submerged under the ocean, is, in fact, in the Sahara Desert. And the eye, thought to be a product of certain geological phenomena, is a foundational remnant of where the city stood before it got destroyed. Now, everyone must have probably heard the fables of the lost city of Atlantis, whether through history class, a novel, or even a sci-fi movie. Apparently, every creator and author has their own beliefs about what the lost city looks like, only through tales that have been passed on for years. The truth is, no one truly saw what Atlantis looked like in the past, hence the disparity in the details concerning the city. The only person who came close to giving an actual vivid description of what Atlantis looked like was Plato. According to his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, Atlantis wasn't just a regular city, but one revered as a mighty empire. They had advanced technology, a large amount of gold, and fertile lands needed to thrive. In his account, he believes Atlantis was a sprawling island kingdom situated in the Atlantic Ocean. Having a layout that was meticulously designed, the city featured concentric rings of water and land connected by canals and waterways. He also pointed out the central island of the city as the grand capital dominated by a towering palace and a temple dedicated to the worship of Poseidon, going a long way to talk about the devotion that the people had for the sea. The most intriguing part of Plato's description was his description of life in the city. Portraying the city as a thriving utopia, he believes that there was a unique blend of ideal governance and advanced technology that made the city thrive. The Atlanteans, for one, housed the best architects and engineers in the world, constructing structures that superseded their time. While at it, they also were able to harness the energy of nature using cold springs for cooling systems and hot springs for generating heat. Their smarts also covered agriculture, as they were able to create a network of canals to irrigate their fertile lands. If everything about the lost city was so perfect, how did it suddenly vanish without leaving any trace whatsoever? And how come it's so hard to find remnants of such a beautiful culture that existed on the planet? Well, according to Plato's theory, he believes that after several conflicts with ancient Athens, Atlantis lost its spark and power. Eventually, the island sank into the ocean due to a horrid day of catastrophic earthquakes and floods. And this is what wiped out the memory and existence of the city. Joe Rogan believes otherwise. He believes that what destroyed the city was most likely an asteroid the size of a city. You should know that since the beginning of time, Plato's description of Atlantis has always been looked at as a philosophical allegory. The truth is that the majority of scientists actually don't believe in the story of an ancient civilization with access to any form of technology. However, there still exists a good number of people who believe Plato's narration to be true. Joe Rogan is one of them, and believes the tales to be true, although he thinks the narration about the location of the lost city of Atlantis might not entirely be accurate, or a phenomenal geological event must have altered the geography of the Earth to bring the lost city to the desert. While this continued to look like a child's tale to some scientists and experts in the field, the picture started to get clearer when Jimmy Corsetti came into the picture. How did Jimmy Corsetti come to see the truth about Joe Rogan's discovery of the eye of the Sahara Desert? For those who don't know who Jimmy Corsetti is, it's only fair you get to know the man to fully understand the role he's playing in this discovery. Jimmy Corsetti is an independent researcher and explorer pertaining to things that have to do with mysteries and lost civilizations. He is involved with the YouTube channel known as Bright Insight. In this channel, he narrates his findings and research concerning mind-boggling mysteries that only very few were able to uncover. However, do not be deceived. This man isn't simply a geek that loves to uncover mysteries. He was once a veteran of war who later quit to file as a theft and fraud investigator. In the channel, he provides in-depth analysis of subjects like astronomy, archaeology, and history. As a renowned researcher, Jimmy Corsetti not only believes Joe Rogan's ideologies about the Eye of the Sahara to be true and accurate, but he was one of the people that proposed the theory about the Eye being the homeland of the lost city of Atlantis. Apparently, he made this theory public in one of Joe Rogan's podcast shows, The Joe Rogan Experience. Jimmy Corsetti believes that Plato's narration of Atlantis matches the physical description of the Eye of the Sahara Desert in every way possible. On the show, the first thing the researcher talked about was the shape of the eye and the concentric rings from Plato's narration. He stated the resemblance of the lines in the eye being what was the ring lands which housed the different towns or cities in Atlantis. On the other hand, the spaces between each concentric line he referred to as the canals that surrounded the different parts of the cities. He claims that the similarities are not a coincidence. It's true that the idea of ancient civilization has always been a topic welcomed among geographers and scholars, but somehow the idea of an ancient civilization thriving in a place such as the Sahara Desert has always been debatable. The truth is, for those doubting the possibility of civilization, making it the desert seems completely impossible. Apparently, what the skeptics fail to realize is that there are several geological theories about several regions of the Earth evolving into something else over the years. The Sahara Desert is one of them, and is believed to not have always been a desert like most people imagined. One of the features backing this fact is the vast underground aquifers that can be found beneath the lifeless sands. It's said that these aquifers date back thousands of years to a time when the Sahara was a much wetter region, one that teemed with life. Besides that, there are also several theories proposed by scientists on the subject. One such theory suggests that changes in Earth's orbital parameters primarily drove the Sahara's aridification. Known as the Milankovitch cycles, these variations in the Earth's orbit and axial tilt have a profound impact on global climate patterns. It's said that around 6,000 to 8,000 years ago, the Earth's axial tilt shifted, altering the distribution of sunlight across the planet. Eventually, this change led to a shift in the location of the Intertropical Convergence Zone, a belt of atmospheric convergence and rainfall near the equator. As the Intertropical Convergence Zone moved southward, it carried with it the rains that had once nourished the Sahara, leaving behind a parched and dry landscape that we see today. Yet another theory that bears the same resemblance as the Milankovitch cycle is that which suggests that the changes in ocean currents are what is responsible for the Sahara's present state. According to this theory, as the patterns of the Atlantic Ocean currents shifted, they influenced the transportation of moisture to continental regions. This disruption happening at the same time as the axial tilt is what diminished the rainfall of the Sahara, hence leading to desertification. There's also the idea of human activities leading to the desert's expansion over the years. We all know how humans have played a vital role in fostering the expansion of these arid lands. It's possible that centuries of rapid deforestation, driven by the demand for timber and agricultural land, must have stripped the Sahara Desert of its protective vegetation cover. If that happened, it wouldn't take long before the soil gets to lose its water retention abilities. It could even get worse with improper irrigation techniques, as the soil will become more prone to the encroachment of desert conditions. And so, looking at these theories, Jimmy Corsetti's belief and ideology about the Eye of the Sahara Desert being the lost city of Atlantis easily makes sense. Seeing that the city existed ages ago, it's very much possible that they must have thrived and flourished under more favorable weather and climate than what we see in the Sahara Desert presently. And so this renders his point valid. However, that wasn't really all that Jimmy Corsetti had up their sleeves. Apparently, the researcher also had several facts to back his claims and shun his skeptics. Another point of reference of his was the nations spanning from the Sahara Desert, Mauritania. According to Jimmy, the nation known to be rich in gold and wildlife seems to have gotten its fair share of wealth and wildlife from the lost city. In his theory, he believes that after the asteroid destroyed Atlantis, the gold and wealth of the nation were dispersed. On the other hand, concerning the wildlife, he claims that the animals only migrated from the region when the Sahara was on the brink of aridification. There's also the story of the 14th century ruler of the Mali Empire, Mansa Musa. Known for his incomprehensible wealth, this man single-handedly altered the course of sub-Saharan Africa. Now it's clear that you must have heard of Mansa Musa's procession to Mecca with his slaves and army carrying caravans of diamonds, gold, and several precious stones. The truth is that no one can truly give a vivid description of the amount of fortune this man moved during his procession. However, to show the extent of his financial influence, the movement of this gold was able to distort the economic balance of several regions in the 14th century sub-Saharan. Imagine what that must have been like. Jimmy believes that the ruler of the Malian Empire was not only able to amass his wealth through trade networks in the Sahel region, but he was also able to become that wealthy from Mauritania through conquest. Of course, as we know it, Mauritania shares borders with Mali, and so the nation resided north of his empire. While these might all be theories, these facts go a long way to back up Jimmy Corsetti's ideas about the Eye of the Sahara Desert. If one thing has been proven over the years, it's that stories and legends that have been passed across time do carry weight. The story of Atlantis, the lost city, is definitely one of them. Thanks for watching. Don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's unbelievable.